Another task for this week is evaluating writing for success using MLA format. So this not only includes the format, but also works cited page and in-text citation. Many of you, as you were doing research, you pulled direct quotes, you rephrased what other people have said, and now is the time to go back and examine where you pulled that information, how do you be able to cite that information, and further create a works cited page. So I'm going to give you some format pieces, but also I'm going to attach MLA cheat sheets within Blackboard so that you can be able to create a separate works cited page and know how to appropriately in-text cite. Now this is not content that will soon be forgotten. As you move into your English 1301, later 1302, any other coursework that you're required to do writing, which is pretty much any and all, you're required to use MLA format, and this is pretty standard across the United States for undergraduate programs. So this may be your first introduction to using MLA format, but I promise it will not be the last time that you see this information. So let's get started. So part one is document formatting. How do you set up your page to be able to format appropriately for this particular writing project? So one, you don't need a title page, but you have to have a heading and a title on the first page. So I gave you an example. So you need to go into Insert, Heading, and this is in Microsoft Word, and right flush, you need to have a page number as well as your last name. Outside of your heading, on the page itself, you need to have your first and last name. Below that, you need to have Professor Ortiz, our course name, which is DIRW 323, and then the date that you submit your essay number 1. So I just happened to put, this week's date. Of course, you'll be submitting your final draft next week, so you'll need to make sure it's that date. As you go on and you start putting your information, you can see here that everything is double spaced. That is appropriate, and if you don't know where to find that, if you're in Microsoft Word, you'll click on Paragraph, which is up in the title bar area. When it pops up, the little window for Paragraph, you'll need to click on and scroll down to Double. Click on the box that says no spacing in between, and then click on OK. That will give you that. There are more resources on the internet to help you with that information, and you should have seen this content, at least a double space or how to double space, in your high school program. Still part of the document format is that you need to use an easily readable font. I highly suggest Times New Roman. Please do not use the cursive fonts. I know it looks pretty, but I end up having to change it because I can't read that. It's not easily readable to me and to any of the professors. Don't increase the font size. That's not going to make it longer. A 12-point font is the maximum. I suggest not going any lower than that. Again, it needs to be double space. And don't put any extra spaces between the paragraph. Again, you know that you need to indent your paragraphs. You should know that it's not centered spaced. It's supposed to be left flush. These are pieces that you should have seen when you were in high school writing. Part 2 is that you need to have a works cited page. This is completely separate of your actual essay, and what I mean by that, it's a separate page. So, page 1 is, of course, where you start writing, and you've got your name and my name and, date and so forth, which I showed you just a moment ago. You'll continue writing into page 2, and if you're done with your 5-paragraph essay, then, you'll create, your third page will be your works cited page. It's not supposed to be on the same page as your other pieces. All right, and you are required to have 2 citations, and what that means is you went to at least 2 different credible websites or articles. You went to at least 2 different credible sources to pull information for your research on poverty. So you only list the resources that you used. You have to list the complete title of the article, essay, web page, or the book you used. Alphabetize your list by author's last names or the first main word in a title. This is something new. Online sources, you do not have to have the URL address, and what that means is you don't have to have the www. Whatever site you found it at .com or .edu or .org. Unless I can't easily find the source that you had. And also, you're required to put the publication median, and that basically means was it print or was it an electronic source. So inside of those MLA cheat sheets that I've attached in your Blackboard Learning module, there are examples that I strongly suggest that you look at before going forward. You need to know. I'm giving you some basic information, but there are cheat sheets out there to be able to help you format those citations. Don't become confused. These are pieces that are extremely important and easily able to reproduce and get it taken care of. And the last part, part 3, is in-text citation. This is where you're telling me, you had quotes. If you take other people's information and you're quoting it, or if you're not quoting it, you're stealing it, that's plagiarizing. But this is other people's information that you have found useful. You've put it into your own essay. And so, of course, make sure that you have quotation marks around their words. And so you have to be able to cite. So at the end of a sentence with a quotation, you'll put the first words or word from your works cited page, which is usually the last name. And it'll go inside a parenthesis, and then you'll have a page number. Well, I understand most students were pulling web resources. Well, obviously, there's usually not a page number for a web resource. In that respect, you will actually just have the author's last name. Or if it's an organization, you're going to have the organization's name. Again, on the cheat sheets, there are examples of in-text citation. Also, another website that's extremely helpful and has helped me throughout my undergraduate and graduate studies is to go to Purdue OWL, MLA. It will give you lots of resources that you need to discover in order to be able to appropriately cite. Again, this information is not going to go away. You're going to continue using MLA formatting across your undergraduate career. So please don't jeopardize plagiarizing someone else's words. Plagiarizing is not acceptable. So thereby appropriately quote in the quotation marks and cite the person as need be.